So now, what's the landscape? What's it look like out there? Yeah. Everybody's talking and singing. What's the bishop doing? He's got his ears held. He says he's deaf to everything. Well, guess what? We're really noisy, but Rome does listen. Believe it or not, on our website, during one of the times that, this was for Jim Calderon's ordination, the Bishop of Scranton made a big, big puff and huff. Larry wrote his letters to the bishop, the cardinal, and the nuncio. Well, yeah, it was pretty. We had to move his ordination because that bishop threatened excommunication with everyone who stepped in the door to participate, including the laity. Well, I see that word up there that's in red, excommunication. That scares a lot of people, big time. So we moved it from Pennsylvania down to Frederick, out of the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, which is where Scranton was, under the umbrella there, to ensure that nothing could happen to anybody who participated because Maryland was there. And Larry had a great rapport with then Cardinal Keeler of Philadelphia, or Baltimore, which helped a lot because what's interesting is all the people that Archbishop Harms conversed with over the years, within 6 months or so after our big blow-up with somebody, the Lord called them back. They died. I don't know what that had to do with anything, but I can tell you, Larry's letters were long, dogmatic, and very to the point about, hey, leave us alone. You don't have rights to do this. And one of the rules that happens is if you write the papal nuncio for any reason, they got to take it to Rome. Rome has to see it. So anytime you deal with the nuncio, and it gets back to the bishop whom you're dealing with, they'll like that. But being autocephalous, and realistically, as presiding archbishop, I'm at the authority level of the Pope. I can go that way because I don't have to deal with people down here. Chain of command, my chain of command can really literally go to the Curia if I wish to. But we don't have to. As Archbishop Harms always said, if you take the high road, everything goes out real well. Go to the low road and they play the tactics they do, things don't work so well. So the independent Catholicism landscape. Believe it or not, there is no way in this country, or pretty much anywhere, to verify how many independent Catholic groups that exist. You can do your Google searches, or as Father Jamie had found out, he found 3 in Louisville. One's active, very vibrant. The other 2, don't know. And when I did a wiki corporate search, I found a few hundred people listed as independent Catholic groups. I didn't go through the numbers, but I'd say more than 70% said inactive. So they formed, but they let their corporation lapse. So usually 5 years, depending on where you incorporate. At one point, believe it or not, it was estimated there were thousands of independent groups, most of them in Florida. Why? Because that's where all the old Catholic bishops went to retire. Wasn't ill-conceived to go to one, well, we had one affiliation when Archbishop Harms was around in Florida. We went to the Wilton Manors area, which is near Fort Lauderdale. Within that old retirement community, there were 30 old Catholic bishops living there. They weren't doing anything, but they lived there. They weren't that old. They could have been out and doing things. Could have been collaborating. They could have been doing whatever they want. They weren't doing anything. Thousands. Think about what Father Jamie said. But there's a problem trying to get all of us together in the same room. And I'll explain that soon. They're also as small as one bishop. I just mentioned that. One bishop. For no people. Or if there are people, that's all they do. Now I have to say, if you've been through as much as Archbishop Harms went through in his life, and what I've seen, sometimes being one bishop with a small group looks appealing. Because, who said it yesterday, there's a point where you get burned out by giving so much and you get nothing back. And all you do is keep pulling the knife out. It just, there's only so much blood loss you can take before you had it. That's what can happen. You get kicked to the curb so often, slandered in public, just hit so hard that your spirit finally says, I'm done with this. I'm done. And that's happened. So I can understand the one bishop model, I really do. Because after a while, the mitre gets heavier and heavier, and you just, there's no support. There's no support. And then there's those groups as large as hundreds of churches across the globe. A couple come to mind. The Polish National Catholic Church. In fact, there's one parish in Milwaukee because there's a huge Polish population there. So one in Illinois.
One in Chicago.
One in Chicago. Anywhere there's a big Polish population, you'll find these Polish National Catholic Churches. I believe they are recognized by Rome,
Yeah.
but they don't have full intercommunal agreement. It's one of those, oh yeah, you're there, but let's keep you hidden. But they're there. They exist. And that's fine. I mean, it just goes to show that you can exist and coexist with Rome as long as you don't mess with their turf. And what they've done, they pretty much minister to the Polish populations. Because if you recall in our immigration history with the United States, Irish Catholics, Polish Catholics didn't get along. So it's partially that. And then you've got your Italians, and you know, in those days, those groups did not get along at all. So they each had their own little sects, so to speak. And the last check that I did before I put this together, and I found on the web, there's 120 listed, 5 of which have the American Catholic Church pretext name. American Catholic Church, American Catholic Church in the United States, American Catholic Church in Nevada, American Catholic Church of Southern California. There's 3 or 5 of them. And we all aren't the same. We don't all come from each other. They just grab the name. Fluid.